Louis Patrone back with the Key West Lou Legal Hour. Thank you again for joining me this morning. When we went to break, I was talking about shameful, stupid things that the Congress of the United States does to waste taxpayer dollars. The last item I was talking about at the break was the Senate of the United States. The House of Representatives gave theirs up in 1979. The Senate of the United States the Senate has their own private barbershop. You got it, a barbershop. And they've got a lady to do the hair of the female senators. Everyone's being taken care of. Cheap prices. The Senate barbershop, I understand it's quite nice. The Senate barbershop in the last 15 years has lost $5.25 million. Now you have to understand, taxpayer dollars pay to keep the barbershop going. Did you know it? I didn't know it. Now we're all going to know it. And now in recent years, the barbershop has consistently lost $500,000. Taxpayer dollars support this thing, and taxpayer dollars take care of the deficit at a time when some of our elected representatives have voted to take $40 billion in food stamps away, are taking breakfast for children away, and things like that. Something's wrong in this society. These people go to Washington and they get, it's a form of corruption. They're not directly stealing, but something's wrong when they can get a cheap haircut and have taxpayer dollars, lose taxpayer dollars on an operation that isn't making money, and they do it. And they keep trying to screw the people. I don't understand this. Okay, now we're going to go to the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. We're done with money for the day. I'm done picking on Congress. It's amazing how rapidly things have happened in the last 2 years in Egypt. We had the Arab Spring. The people went to the streets looking for democracy. Women threw off their burqs or burqe, whatever way you pronounce it, B-U-R-Q-E. They threw them off. They took their veils off, the black stuff off. They were in the streets. The young people who had graduated from college were in the streets in Egypt. And they were saying, we need jobs, we don't have work. Mubarak got overthrown. And I'm going to say what I've been saying since day one. We didn't know what we were doing when we supported democracy. This is what Hillary Clinton said it was. This is what President Obama said it was. Democracy in action, the people in the streets, and we supported it. Mubarak had been a friend of the United States for 30 years. He was the only major, Arab to come out and support Israel. And he did it for us. We knew where we stood. But we said, no, he's got to go because the people in the street don't want him. Well, we're learning. They had an election. It was the first democratic election. Other elections were rigged. Okay, Mubarak was elected, but it was rigged. And what happens? They elected last year a fellow by the name of Morsi, M-O-S-I. Well, turns out Morsi's not in office anymore. He's been in jail. And he's going to trial because of bad things he did in the 1 year, okay? This Muslim Brotherhood took control. He was part of the Muslim Brotherhood, and they're the far right. They're more right than the Tea Party is in the United States. How did they get elected? Well, I'm going to tell you how they got elected. One, they organized the election. You know, they had people knocking on doors. They got out to vote. The other party didn't. But even more importantly, what people don't understand is that for years, this radical right group has operated schools in Egypt, has operated hospitals in Egypt. You get sick, you can't pay, they take care of you. You need an education, come to our school. They provide social services. They have places where they sell food at dramatically reduced prices. And if you can't pay, you get the food for nothing. They do the same thing with clothes. So they were popular. They were helping the people for years. You know, they had put their money where their mouth was. They had shown what they could do, and they got elected. But then they were doing screwy things because they're far to the right, and they were trying to turn the people, religious-wise, far to the right. So the military came in and booted Morsi out of office. What's humorous here also is the military has been in control of Egypt for over 30 years. Even under Mubarak, the real power behind the throne, so to speak, was the military. So they said, screw it, we're not going to have a figurehead. They came in, they took the government over, and they're running it now. Now, what has happened? Why am I talking about the Muslim Brotherhood? Because this past week, a court, this is ridiculous, but a court in Egypt said that the Muslim Brotherhood was no good. It was banned forever. Just like this, the court said they're banned forever. Two reasons. They're violating citizens' rights, and it's really a cover for Islamism. What isn't a cover for Islamism in the whole of the Middle East? But on those grounds, they banned it. They took over the schools. They took over the hospitals. They have seized the assets, the money in the bank of the Muslim Brotherhood throughout Egypt. I can't believe this. It happened that fast. Morsi, who was going to be everything, only lasted a year. I'm sure half the population in Egypt is saying, why did we do this to Mubarak? I hope Hillary Clinton is saying, I believe she is, and President Obama. Another thing, if you are a member, you continue to say you are a member, because they banned it doesn't mean that the Muslim Brotherhood's going away. If you are a member now of the Muslim Brotherhood, merely for being a member of that political party, you are subject to arrest. Crazy situation. And how stupid certain people act when things are occurring. This is heartwarming, what I am going to share with you now. This happened in Delray Beach. The doctor's name is Eugenio Rodriguez. And the patient is a Paul Halpin, 33 years old. A horse bit his index finger on his right hand to the knuckle, took it off. Somebody grabbed it, put it in a clean handkerchief, and took Rodriguez and the third of the finger to the hospital. They couldn't put the finger back on. The insurance company said, you must amputate the rest of the finger. That's how this procedure is taken care of. That must be the cheapest way. It must be more expensive to keep the third and let it heal. They wanted it cut off. This Dr. Rodriguez says, look, I don't want to do it that way. I've been experimenting, and I think I've got something that can help this man. And here's what he did. He grew, hear me, he grew, G-R-E-W, the man's finger back. What did he do? He took bladder tissue from a pig, pig guts, made a mold, just like the finger. Over the stub that was left, he made a mold. Put the mold on the finger, attached it somehow to the finger. The man, his cells, his skin, from his own body, his blood, all of it grew into the pig gut mold, gut mold. Remove the mold, the man's got a real finger. It grew. From the knuckle up, it grew. This man's procedure is new. This is dynamic. Think of the body parts that may be able to be replaced this way. First time this ever happened. Now, last night as I was glancing through the computer and I was half asleep in bed, I had it on my lap, I read about a doctor someplace else in this country who has done a similar procedure where he grew a nose. A man lost his nose. He grew a new nose on his forehead. Looks just like a nose, but it's up here. And he removed it and put it over here. And this guy now has full use of his nose. He can breathe. He can smell. He can have a cold, blow his nose. He can do anything he wants. And this was the doctor's second operation. And the other one, he grew the nose on the man's calf. These are wonderful things that are happening. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. Just like I saw this morning with the prosthetic leg, one of our veterans, he moves his leg by operation of his mind. Amazing. All right, we're going to go to break again, and when we return, I'll have some more interesting stuff for you. Stay with me, please.